Hey everybody, what is going on? Hexlex here. Got another Pokemon Pocket deck profile for you. Coming at you with Greninja and Magnezone. For this build, we're on 2 Froakie, 2 Frogadier, 2 Greninja, 2 Magnemite, 2 Magneton, 2 Magnezone, 2 Druddigon, 2 Pokeball, 2 Professor's Research, and 2 Cyrus. So, I think I mentioned in a recent video that you could play seemingly any combination of like Darkrai, Greninja, Magnezone, Druddigon, and it would be good. And this deck is definitely just proving that thesis. Our first opponent here is going to be on the Dialga Yanmega deck. I mean, yeah, it's like a lot of us are familiar with by now the idea that if you don't need to rely on your, energy source in order to deal damage, then you are able to be a lot more flexible. So you might notice a fire energy coming up here on our next turn. We actually play fire and water. This is the only deck I've ever played where you can actually attack with the Druddigon. The reason we play fire and water is not just for, well, it is for Druddigon, but the reason we're able to get away with that is because, of course, Magnezone can get lightning energy off Magneton's ability, so it doesn't care what kind of energy you're playing in the main, right? And Greninja also doesn't really care about energy because it can attack with Water Shuriken, but also Mist Slash, its regular attack that deals 60 damage, takes 1 water and 1 colorless, meaning that we can actually support Greninja's attack with this energy spread as well. And if you happen to not roll water energy for Greninja, again, it's not that big of a deal because you can just Water Shuriken / attack with Magnezone anyway. Yeah, it's kind of like I said, the culmination of all the ideas of what makes a card good in this particular metagame. So, the biggest drawback of this deck is the fact that we are on 2 Stage 2 lines and playing another couple of basics, so Druddigons on top of that. That leaves only 6 spots for trainers, and of course, you kind of have to play 2 Pokeball, 2 Professor's Research. So, Cyrus is a pretty natural pick for our 2 remaining trainers, as we can, of course, use Greninja, throw out a Water Shuriken, and then pull whatever we want into the active slot to get dropped a Thunder Blast by the Magnezone. But that said, we are still lacking a lot of other options, like X-Speed / Leaf, Sabrina's. I mean, you all know the other trainers that are good right now. That said, this deck is still experiencing a lot of success. If we pop on over to Play Limitless TCG, let's see, Greninja Magnezone. Let me try sorting by win rate, because I don't think it's the most popular deck. It's definitely not. It's very low in popularity. But it does have currently the highest win rate at 58%. Just below that, for reference, is Darkrai Magnezone at 54.7%. So, I will say take that information with a grain of salt, because the game count is so drastically different between the two. Magnezone Greninja has about 90 games behind it, whereas Darkrai Magnezone is about 3,300 games behind its stats. So, yeah. That's actually, of course, how I found this deck, was just by sorting by win rate and seeing what was at the top. It's interesting, right? Looking at these stats and trying to balance them and such. So, anyway. Here we had to use our Magnezone as a bit of an early attacker to take care of our opponent's Dialga, but in the process they were able to set up this Mew. Now, we do have the ability to attack with Druddigon on the next turn. This is the only time I've ever done this in Pocket, and it might be one of the only times I ever do it. I'm actually going to use Druddigon's Dragon Claw attack for dealing 90 damage, which when you can actually do that, it's quite powerful. I first observed this when playing Skarmory Magnezone, and putting a Rocky Helmet on Heatran and being like, oh wait, this is like a way more broken Druddigon once you have a Rocky Helmet on this thing. Yeah, so they are going to attack me with the Mew using genome hacking, but of course our ability is going to deal 20 back. And then, if only we had a Greninja, we could just take out the Mew and get our 2 points right now. But Actually, what I could do here, and I think I am going to end up doing, is using the Cyrus in my hand to pull out the opponent's Dialga, KO that to get 2 points, and then we're good. As with a lot of the decks I've been playing lately, this deck also does not play any EX Pokemon, meaning it is not only budget-friendly, but, of course, as always as ever, our opponent has to KO 3 of our Pokemon, whereas if they're on EXs, we only have to KO 2 of theirs. Of course, as always, the drawback is that EX Pokemon tend to be better. But I've said it before and I'll say it again. In a meta where you can play multiple successful decks that don't use EX Pokemon, it almost does start to become a liability. And even beyond the Magnezone builds, right? You've got stuff like Rampardos, Hitmonlee, Skarmory, Bastiodon is not like the best deck in the world, but it does see, I mean, it sees enough success. It's got an over 50% win rate. That's better than stuff like Charizard, Moltres, and Gyarados, Vaporeon, or wait, Gyarados and what is it usually paired with? Why am I blanking? Greninja, yeah, of course, Gyarados, Greninja. It's a higher win rate than those, which are still very popular for some reason. Well, the big one that baffles me is Mewtwo Gardevoir. How does this the 14th most popular deck in the game, and it has a 40% win rate? That's abysmal. That's awful. That's really bad. Anyway, we managed to KO their Dialga. They've got the Mew back in. They healed it up with a potion, which is like slightly annoying, but also kind of doesn't matter here. Just waiting for them to attack. Here it is. Genome hacking on my Druddigon is going to knock it out, but we deal 20 back, which will bring it down to 110. So honestly, as long as we can top deck Magnezone here, or Professor's Research into Magnezone, we actually just win this turn. And there's a Magnezone. So it was a bit lucky, but we had to draw it at some point, right? So I did kind of take a chance putting the Magneton in, but at the same time, my opponent only needs 1 more point anyway, so it's like, if I put in Druddigon and top deck Magnezone, I would just be screwed. I would just lose. If I put in Druddigon and don't top deck Magnezone, I'm still very screwed because I don't have a leaf to retreat, and I can't retreat in time before it gets KO'd. So I think putting in Magneton there is just always correct. Just playing to your out, you know, that whole thing. Alright, so there's our first game. I know my medal count was only at 25 there. I did manage to get my medal in time, don't worry. Alright, and then our next opponent here is going to be on the Pachirisu 18 trainer deck, which we also covered recently on this channel, so feel free to click on the channel there and take a look at the videos. There was from just a couple of days ago, so should be near the top. Opening Druddigon and Froakie, we like to see those. Magneton, Magnezone, we would have liked to have seen Magnemite as well, but I mean, that is again going to be the big issue with this deck, is that you're playing 2 Stage 2 lines. Like, no matter how good those cards are independently, that is still always awkward to have to play 2 Stage 2s. But here we got the Magnemite off the top of our deck, so we're looking pretty good there. In a perfect world, we'd be able to KO this Pachirisu before they find the second one here. Like if they Sparking Gadget into Druddigon, and then we can go Magnezone to KO it. It's looking decently promising so far, as we have not seen the other Pachirisu yet. Alright, we always play Magneton here, of course. I don't think we play the second Magnemite just yet. It's not really a need to. That was interesting, putting the fire energy on Magneton. I think I maybe should have... Well, that's the thing, right? Putting it on Druddigon kind of doesn't make sense, because Sparking Gadget can 2-shot Druddigon, assuming they have a tool, of course, before I can get the ability to attack with it, and I think even by the time I can retreat with it, right? Because, like, has a fire energy, they Sparking Gadget here, I put a water energy on, then I could retreat, but I wouldn't want to anyway. So yeah, no, I think it was right to put the energy on Magneton there. There's no point in building up Druddigon here. Okay. I think between all of the different Magnezone decks I've played recently, including this one. I gotta say, I think my favorite among all of them is actually Skarmory Magnezone. Darkrai Magnezone certainly has been putting up the most results in terms of the most played, one of the more played variants, and I know it is the most played variant, and also boasting the highest win rate, aside from this one, of course. But yeah, the Skarmory variant I actually used for the remaining like 20 games I had to play after recording these videos for the event, and it felt very good to play. Felt like I was winning a good bit. Like my win rate was pretty positive. I don't remember if it actually was. I didn't record it or anything, but and it just felt like it could handle the meta very, very well. I think Skarmory is a very good Pokemon. As you can see here, our opponent did manage to find their second Pachirisu. So we are going to have to deal with both of them. That's a little bit of an issue, honestly. It looks like they also healed. Yeah, they used a potion on their Pachirisu. But of course, they're still going to take 20 from the rough skin. So now we can bring in Magneton. And then Magnezone can KO this Pachirisu. The problem, though, is that it's the second Pachirisu. Because we can one-shot this Pachirisu here, right? But then they bring in theirs. Sparking Gadget 80 puts our Magnezone down. And we can deal 110 back, but they'll be at 30 and then they can still KO us. Now, granted, they'll be at 30, but they are going to be able to outpace us as far as being able to KO the Magnezone before we can KO their Pachirisu. If I had even Frogadier, because Frogadier can deal 30, then it would be fine. But I end up starting to build up the Druddigon here. Yeah, I mean, I think that's right. Here we go, dropping the Thunder Blast on the Pachirisu. The Rocky Helmet damage is very negligible. I mean, it doesn't matter here, right? It doesn't change the fact that we're still going to get two-shot by this Pachirisu either way. Okay. So what would we need to top deck? I think Frogadier, because like I said, they attack us here. We attack them back, put them down to 30. If they have a potion that can heal up to 50 and that would be an issue, then Frogadier wouldn't be enough to win. Okay, we did get the Frogadier. I actually don't remember how this game ended. So I'm like actually kind of enthralled here a little bit. I retreated. Oh no, this is a misplay. I should have just Thunder Blasted here. I retreated into Druddigon. Well, they only have 1 point. I mean, I understand why I did that. I understand my theory. But I think what ends up happening, if I remember right, is that my Magnezone gets Cyrused out, and then I'm in a pretty bad spot. I should have considered that, especially with how many cards they have in hand. I really should have considered that. I think that was greedy on my part. I should have just taken the 110. I literally could have won on the next turn with Frogadier. Even if they... because it has an energy attached, right? Even if they had a potion, I could have won anyway. No! I threw! That's so bad. But you know what? This is actually one of the main reasons why I really like recording videos for not just this game, but every TCG I play. And this is actually a really good habit in general. Some games like Master Duel have a replay feature built in, but for games like this that don't, ideally if you really want to improve your gameplay for like tournaments and stuff, one of the best ways to do that is to simply record yourself playing and then go back and watch it. And you'll catch things like I just did for myself here. You're going to catch yourself making those misplays, and then you're going to know to watch for that kind of thing in the future. I've been hearing this experience, or this advice rather, from other people since I played Hearthstone back in like 2014 and 15. People would always say record your games and watch them. That's the best way to improve, and that has time and time with every digital TCG I've ever played just proven to be more and more true. Oh yeah, it's brutal here as we're going to get hit with the Sabrina, then they're going to Sparking Gadget our Greninja, and oh, it's so bad. Oh, it was so avoidable too. But it's all good. I mean, it's not all good in the sense that we're really far behind now in this game. But, I mean, again, it's one non-tournament game and we're learning from it. That's the main thing to focus on, I think. But our opponent does only need one more point to win. And things are looking not super great for us here. Because even if they were to attack into this Druddigon, they'd go down to 100. We'd Water Shuriken. Like, I need them to I need them to attack this Druddigon twice, but they only need one more point to win. So if they do that, then I'm going to lose. Like, I'm just 20 damage short of actually KOing this Pachirisu here. It's really sad. Ah, dang it. It's also sad that I had the win, too. Even through the potion, that's what gets me. Because I thought for a second, well, okay, if they had potion, then Frogadier wouldn't be able to one-shot. But I had the Greninja, and I already had an energy on it. Anyway, we've already been over that. Yeah, I'm just going to pass back over to them and basically let them have the win at this point. But we live, we learn, and that is how life goes. So thank you, everybody, so much for watching this video. Super appreciate your support. If you are interested in more Pokemon Pocket content, I have plenty here on the channel with more to come. So sub if you want to see more. I'd greatly appreciate that. But for the time being, that's going to do it. This is Hexlex. I am signing out and also hoping that you have a fantastic day.